Okay, thanks for joining us again, folks, on the Family Through Service V2VG video podcast. We just put up Words with an Agenda Part 2.
Yes,
two
one
of two.
and two.
Yeah, 1 and 2. But this
Yep.
one was the second of 2.
Yeah,
Literally put it up today, as a matter of fact.
that was a fun one to do. Like
It was fun.
because it was very matter of fact. You know what I mean? It was actual definitions. Very little of it was based on our opinions.
Well, I mean, I think that's probably some of the best ways to do it, because you just it is what it is.
But today
Right.
we're going to kind of take the opposite view and speak mostly based on our opinion, because
Yeah.
there's no book on how to deal with challenges in life. So,
Right.
so we're going to just voice our
Just in
opinion on. Yeah, I think the first one we both had one. So,
Well, that works.
you had credit. So,
I had credit and plus some, so that should be good.
so yeah. I haven't seen the second one yet, and I still haven't gotten to the rewatch the car ride. I haven't done that yet.
Right.
Because I have to watch it and pay attention, not be laughing my butt off. So
Well, there's a lot of moving parts, and that's sort of what we're talking about this time. Now, when we were doing just audio only podcasts, that's the thing. We talk often about, hey, we should do a show on this, that, or the other thing, and we can't remember, was that just audio, or did we do a video also on it?
yeah, and
And we did one on
unfortunately,
Brain Splinters, which was great, because a lot of veterans, in our experience, have the same concerns on Brain Splinters.
yeah,
You
and unfortunately, all the audio files, they only kept them up for so long,
Yeah,
and then
they're
they get
zonked
rid
out.
of them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things about doing the YouTube and Rumble is it's always accessible.
It
We
is.
can always see, scroll through and see what topics we did cover or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
But one of the things, this time, we're not talking about what we call brain splinters as it is, or routine violations, as it were. But it's sort of an amalgamation of all. It's kind of a mix between all those things, and you actually said a pretty cool one. It's like a wrinkle in the plan.
yeah, it's I think Brain Splinters is more of like the immediate plan, like we need to leave at 5 o'clock to get there at such and such time, and we're leaving 10 minutes late.
Right.
Like that is more, but I'm talking about kind of the bigger picture of like everyday life.
Yeah.
And we've both been kind of dealing with different levels of that recently. And
Yeah.
and you had the idea, like, why don't we discuss ways we've tried to figure out ways to deal with these things?
Yeah, how do we cope with life while trying to run a charity that basically every year pays out thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to our brother and sister veterans and first responders and their family? And I don't think people realize that while having our own personal injuries and illnesses that we have to deal with, I don't think people realize, because they talk to us on the phone. Sometimes they see us in person, they'll see us on video, and they don't realize that we are both 100% disabled by the VA also. And although they see us doing these things, we have our personal medical issues as well that take a heavy, heavy toll on what we're able to do, how long we're able to do things, so on and so forth.
I think that's why when we give out our typical office hours, which are from like 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., is more 8:30 to 11, because we take that first half hour to get our shit straight and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
But we definitely have had like questions of, is that really the only time that, it's not that that's the only time we're available to help, that's the main time that we try and do our interviews, our intakes, all the major paperwork, because that's when we're at our best.
Well, it's when we have our most energy and we're at our best. Yeah, exactly. Because as the day wears on, our illnesses and our injuries, they start wearing us down more and more. And frankly, more and more shit happens during the day.
Absolutely.
Which just pile on.
And, I don't want this to be a complaining of doing what we do at V2VG, but
No, of course not.
But
Yeah.
you're bringing a good point.
The reason we do what we do with V2VG is because, like you've said so many times before, we need a mission.
Yes.
And the mission for us to help people, to help our brother and sister veterans and first responders and their families, is in a large way is what helps me get up during the day, because I know that when I help people, or at least when I'm trying to help people, it gives me motivation to deal with all the shit that's happening in my life, whether it's personal or secondary or tertiary piles of crap that's happening, whether it's happening to me, my family, my friends, so on and so forth. Because you hear a lot from people, it's my life, it's my decisions, they don't affect you, and I can't disagree with that more,
especially in the line of what we do.
It's not, if it's or if you're in a family, right?
If
you're in a family, it's my life, it's my decision, and the decisions I make don't affect you. That is wrong on every level.
I'm going to guess you may have heard this from a teenager that you may know.
I've heard it
possibly
from a teenager. I've also heard it from an adult mom. Just saying. So it's that statement is absurdly naive.
It's almost narcissistic too, isn't it?
Well, kind of in a sense. Like if you're in a family that cares about one another, then means you enjoy each other's successes. You're happy when they're happy. You're sad when they're sad.
Yeah.
So when a family member is not doing well for whatever reason, you're all affected. And when they make poor decisions, you're all affected. Yes, you're not affected the same way, but you are all affected.
Well, yeah, and it goes beyond that too. Just family. I mean, like you and Colin are pretty much brothers. You guys grew up together. You guys have a long history, and I have a very limited history. But when things are going on with him, it absolutely affects me too, because now there's a piece of my life that's always thinking about him, thinking about how it's affecting you. So yeah, that's kind of a very selfish thing to say. Like,
I think it is. Oh, it's my life. It doesn't affect you. It's really shitty. People shouldn't say that. And if you are the one who says that, or you've caught yourself saying that, take a step back and think about how it's wrong. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's the statement is stupid. It's wrong. It's a wrong statement to make.
Imagine someone care about passes away, and you go to their memorial or whatever, and they don't let you in and say, "Hey, it was their life. It has no effect on you."
Yeah.
How would you feel? Yes, that's extreme, but how is that really any different? Like you said, we feel each other's pains and sorrows and happiness and all that through each other.
Humans are social animals, and we, to one degree or another, and I know there's introverts and extroverts, and I get it. But, it's kind of like, when you're watching, it used to be the case for me, when I'd be watching a movie by myself or something, and a funny scene would happen, and you turn around, and you're laughing, and you want to share it with somebody that you subconsciously think is there, and you're like, hey, oh fuck, the person's not there, and it's
my imaginary friend.
Crap, but it is frustrating, and the decisions we make and in our lives affect the lives of the people around us, and it's a ripple effect. It ripples outwards.
Oh, absolutely.
If I have an argument with my wife or my children, as much as I try not to bring that with me to work, here, it does. And then if we get calls from a client and I'm in a piss poor mood, it sort of puts me in a sour mood, and then that can affect my decisions or my listening ability to the client's story, and you see how it starts to make a snowball effect. And that can in turn affect my ability to adequately listen to the concerns of a client who's trying to reach out to get help.
And this actually goes right back to the fact of how what's happening in our individual lives does have effect on each other, because it's those times where you and I know each other well enough where we're like, okay, man, you need to go home, get some rest, or I need to take my time, and we'll schedule appointments for the next day or whatever. Because even if you're not talking about it, be like, oh, Sarah's being such a bitch, and she did this, that, and the other, and it's, even if you're not talking, you can still feel the energy. We're only like 3 or 4 feet away.
Yeah.
You can feel it in my inability to respond to questions of yours or emails or whatnot. So
yeah. And it's like, okay, we need to take some time to, as you say, recenter, refocus, and stuff. And I think that brings us to the crux of the situation of the show here. What do we do to recenter? What do you do when life is getting you down, whether you have illness or injury or not, but you're getting shit piled onto your shoulders, and you need to get it off. You need to get it off of your shoulders so you can get back to doing whatever it is that you do to live your life. So what are your coping mechanisms?
Yeah, so
right.
what do we do together? Like, there's a few things that we have done it together and stuff. One thing we used to do a lot, I think, just with everything going on in our personal lives, we've gotten away from it. We used to play online gaming a lot together, like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare, all these, different games.
And voting is happening. That's
yes,
what you're
all the beeps are. So
the beeps are voting. Yeah, and I think we'll get back to that as online gaming is a cyclical thing.
Yeah. What
right
other
now
things?
We're still gaming, but we're gaming
different, separately. Yeah. What other things do you and I do together to try and deal with some of these stresses?
Another thing that we do when the weather is appropriate is we go to what we call range therapy.
Yeah,
we go
aromatherapy.
To aromatherapy. Yeah, range therapy. We go to one of our local gun ranges and just relieve stress by firing our weapons. And people might find that to be odd, right? Well, how does that help? Well, because you're focusing on something totally different, just like playing a video game.
The fundamentals, right?
Yeah, it's you're focusing on something other than your problems, and that's the key.
And sometimes we go just you and I because we don't want to focus on anything other than just sending some brass down, right?
Yeah, we don't even talk half the time. It's just
other times
shooting, and other
we
times
bring our kids because it kind of helps us focus even more on things and get away from our own because we're worried about their safety now. Those type of things. So, but for me, one of the things that I tend to do by myself is I'm a big action movie fan. So, and there are action stars who I don't agree with politically or their life choices, but I'm a big fan of acting as far as Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris. Yeah. All those, like, the senseless, don't need a plot, don't need a story, just, like, bodies are flying, just
like Expendables.
Fun. Yeah, like, just fun stuff, So that's one of the things I like to resort to, and it's fun for me because Sarah doesn't get into all the action films, so it is like an alone time, like a recentering.
Sure, yeah.
What about you individually?
I used to watch movies a lot, but since my brain injury, I can't. Matter of fact, it bothers me to watch movies or TV. I used to read a lot, but that's difficult for me also because it hurts my head. I pray, meditate, pray. Mm-hmm. I listen to music almost constantly for a variety of reasons. But to be honest with you, I like to listen to music and lay down and not sleep, but go into that half dream world where you're not really sleeping but you're not really awake and kind of
you hear what's going
daydream.
On around you, but like your eyes are, I get what you're saying.
And to that end, and we bought you this for your birthday.
Yes.
There's this product called Trex, and I know there's other products, and there's headphones that go around your ears, but they don't go in your ear canal, and they're bone conduction headphones, and it pushes sound waves into the bones of your jaw, so you can hear the music or whatever and still hear ambient noise,
which is amazing for someone like myself who has impaired hearing. Sometimes it's selective depending on if the kids or Sarah's talking to me. But
I'll keep your secret.
I really do have some hearing issues, especially if other things are going on.
Right.
But with those, it's such a clear, vibrant sound, and it's enjoyable. I've been I've been falling asleep to the soundtrack to Hamilton.
Oh, cool.
The musical play there, and it's so great because I can see like the actual scenes happening and stuff. It's
one of
really
the
good
neat things
stuff.
about the Trex is they're not in your ear canal. If you roll over, you're not pushing in your ear canal. They're just pressing on the side of your face.
No, I agree, and I do enjoy
really
that
cool.
as
Just
well.
be careful because if you press that button, it might dial the last number you called.
Oh yeah, or pause it, or there's some other things.
Yeah, but so music in a trance-like state. So, and I listen to almost all kinds of music.
Yeah, you've really inspired me to get more into the Viking stuff.
I like Viking music. I do. I like. What I don't like is most disco music, techno music.
That's 'cause
and
they're
classic
dead.
country.
Well, not country. Country talks about being dead,
Well,
but disco.
People are like, oh, you like country because you like CCR and stuff, but that's like country rock. But
Yeah.
there are some country songs that I like, but classic country, like the twang and stuff, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, like
as a genre.
I can get down on what's his face. He does a whole bunch of patriotic songs there. That's country and
Like Lee Greenwood, God
no,
Bless the USA or whatever that song is.
no. It's the one who does
Because I memorized
American
that song.
Soldiers, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue.
Toby Keith.
Toby Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like
I don't know
him.
any country songs.
So those are good because it kind of brings out my patriotism and gets me all like But before the dojo closed down, that was one of my favorite ways was going and
Yeah.
working out there and
Well, that's a physical release. It's a mental
Yeah.
release. Yeah.
and it wasn't just hitting people. In fact, I preferred to kind of be the punching bag for especially a lot of the women because it's important for the women to understand what an actual attacker is going to feel like. It's not going to be someone similar size. It's going to be
typically it'll be a bigger person.
So
because
that was a lot
go
of fun.
for the weak prey.
Exactly.
most of the time.
That's what I always aim for.
Yeah. That's
The weak prey.
the
but-
sick and vulnerable.
But those are some of the things. I mean, and then we both enjoy our family time together, whether it be having a dinner together at 99, those type of things.
I do enjoy my family when we're not arguing about dumb things, and there are times when my family is like a well-oiled machine and everything is going great, and there are other times when it's like somebody just goes up to that machine and throws nuts and bolts into it.
Yes.
And no matter how hard I try to have a good day or a good time, no matter how hard my wife and I try, it just doesn't function.
I have to say, you asked for it by having 6 kids.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, there's that.
and I'm not far behind with 4. So, but
It's true.
I mean, these are just some of the things that we try and use. But I mean,
Yeah.
Eric and we both have teenagers. Luckily, you have the girl that have been nothing short of ridiculous pains in our asses, like every day.
Yeah.
We have, my wife's going through a tough recovery from surgery. Eric's trying to prepare for a surgery. So these are things that
That's right.
are not the everyday type thing. So that's where it becomes more of a wrinkle and not a brain splinter. It's like
Yeah.
you're trying to see the silver lining in a longer term process, and sometimes it's really hard to find that.
It is. You just have to have hope and faith that that silver lining is there, even when you can't see it.
And that your wife doesn't smother you in your sleep. I mean, I think
Sleep
we
with
both
one eye
have.
open.
We both have. Sometimes we run our mouths a little too much to our wives and forget that they are capable of very sinister things.
Well, that's why I sleep on the recliner, because she can't reach me there because she's small.
That's true. But and I think it's only fair that we pick on our wives because we dedicated an entire video that was almost an hour long talking about how amazing they are.
That's right.
So we gotta knock them back down to a peg or two. We can't
Yeah.
have them,
Come back down to earth, Jen, and that's it. She's probably going to watch this video with me at night in bed and roll over and whack me right in the head.
Yeah, she's gonna hit
That's
you.
okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I might hear it next door. So that's
It's okay. But
anybody.
how do other people cope? You hear other people coping with unhealthy ways.
Well, yes. Well,
Drugs, alcohol.
there's a healthy way that you and I will refuse to do unless we're being chased by cops or chasing the food truck, and that's running.
Running. Yeah,
We don't do running
I tell you
anymore.
what, I've done my running. I can run really fast for about 1 foot.
Yeah, two steps.
One individual step, and then I can fall really fast.
And we hear a lot about the alcoholism.
With our
and-
clients.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we have a recent client, and he literally hit rock bottom and
Yep.
fell and hit his head on the cement ground, and put himself into a really bad spot, but it was enough for him to be like, oh shit, I shouldn't drink anymore. So,
and then he's been sober for 13 months, and
you know,
that's fantastic. And you know what? Those are the stories that I just love, because you see a person who's in the military for a career, doing great. He gets out, is in an upheaval with his social situation, turns to an unhealthy way of coping. And then for whatever reason, in this case, he literally hit rock bottom. But no matter what, makes the decision to say, you know what, I got to get healthy, I got to get right, and is flying straight and sober now. And that's such an edifying and friggin' awesome thing to hear, because so often we hear people say, yeah, I served, I did everything, and I fell and hit rock bottom, and yeah, I'm still drinking, or whatever. Yeah, and you're like, well, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And
like, so, what does it take?
And
right?
that's one of the things that, you know, I don't think that we acknowledge to others enough. That's why we enjoy doing what we do, is because there is always going to be someone who has it worse. But hearing those success stories, whether it be an MST victim turning into a survivor and going out and being an advocate, or if someone, you know, who was an alcoholic for over 3-5 years, now been sober for over a year. Those are all
success stories. We meet winners in this line of work.
And the other part of that is we help those who are at a plateau get to that next level to become successful.
Yes.
Whatever level that is, if it's, you know, getting a comp and pen or... So we get to help those individuals get to another step, and it helps us realize that even as bad as we may have it on any given day, there are people, not only in our families, in our lives, and each other, because I constantly rely on you and you rely on me, but because of what we do, there are people that actually rely on us to give them that step up, and
sometimes it's all they need is just that tiny little boost, that hand out to grab them and pull them up. There's one rung of the ladder that they can't quite reach, and then they're off and running.
You know, and I love it. I mean, we get these testimonials all the time.
You have them hanging up here.
And
I have a couple here. They're all over the place.
You know, and we get people, I want to pay you guys back. No,
it's not about that.
And then we have this the individual who had alcoholism there has been on a good recovery. Him and his wife are like, everybody needs a Chuck and Eric in their life. Like,
that was awesome.
It was awesome, but it's also like, you don't know us outside of this 2 or 3 hours, so you may rethink that. But it's those type of things that help us get past our insecurities and our troubles through the.
It's
through the
really
day.
nice to hear. It's awesome to see the success stories, to see people at a low point, and then we do whatever we can do to help them out, whether it's a lot or a little, or sometimes both. And then when you follow up with them 6 months later, 3 months later, whatever, we see them sailing along and doing better, because it's like, you know what? They deserve to do better, and now they're doing better, or they're on the road to recovery, or whatever the case is. And it's like, good. That's what we want for our brothers and sisters.
Well, yeah, no,
we
exactly.
want them to do better for themselves, because sometimes we can't do what they can do because of our injuries. But if they can do better for themselves, that's what makes it worth it.
And, you know, a lot of people like to praise us and stuff, but you and I stand behind the fact that, yes, we do what we can help, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our families, but also those few, you know, gems in the VA system who have stood out and helped us get to this point.
I can think of 3.
Honestly, neither one of us theoretically should be alive with everything we've had to deal with, and it was only because people cared enough to keep pushing and helping us when we would lose hope. And so now we get to provide others with hope, and I think that in itself is such a great thing to have.
What's the classic phrase? Pay it forward.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's becoming a classic phrase. So if we can do anything to help, that's why we do it.
Yeah, more so than anything. I mean, it is twofold. It is selfish, but it's selfless as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Selflessly selfish.
So, and
Put
please, you know, if you're new, please subscribe, like our videos, comment any ways that you may deal with stress or adverse situations, because maybe it's something we haven't thought about and we may want to try. I mean, who knows?
Yep. I think that's a great idea. And thanks for joining us today on our video podcast because, hey, we got to do what we got to do to help people, right?
Yep, and we had some time to kill.
And we had some time to kill.